Okay, just before this, when I was working on another one and I snapped it, this is about the limit of my thinness that I can get with the billet, with the swinging billet. So I kind of reached it with this one, but just so I know, it's 1 3/4. Yeah, 5/16. Let's see. It's like 8 millimeters by 40 millimeters, so 5 to 1. I get to 5 to 1 and it'll snap. And I don't normally use a swinging billet because indirect percussion is much more accurate. But I just wanted to try it. Besides, it chews up my billets, but I got a bunch of other ones. I got some more. Now, this is an elk antler. I got a bunch of whitetail now, so I may be making some more billets that I can swing in some of these videos. I misplaced my pressure flaker. Okay. You guys are going to probably get tired of me working this Rainy Butte stuff. I don't know what my score is. Let's see, how many did I break? I think I got 50% right now. I've got 2 completed points, and I've broken 2 preforms. This one and another one in a video, right? Or maybe I've broken 3. I can't remember. So if I complete this one, it'll be 3 complete, 3 broken. If I did break another one in the video, I just don't remember. But as time goes on, that'll improve. Yeah, this material snaps. I can snap it with my fingers when it gets delicate like that. So that's one thing to watch. It's highly annoying, I know, but I keep forgetting that. I was looking up some points the other day. I think I'm going to make a Wray point. W-R-A-Y. See how that turns out. It's already got the basic shape. And it'll give me a chance to do some notching. Try to do some finer notching than before. I don't need to go much thinner than this for the Wray point. I think I mentioned I was going to do a paleo. Gotta watch out for that chatter. Watch out that I don't do that, because that may be an incipient crack. Let's see. I can use this Ishii, well, this horizontal punch like an Ishii stick, or this one like an Ishii stick. Try to get more leverage to produce some long pressure flakes. So let's see how that goes. Be better than hammering on the tip with the indirect percussion flaker. Maybe. maybe not. If you guys are not getting you're not eating through your antler this fast, I don't know what you're doing, but I always eat through the antler extremely fast. Even on softer material. Softer stone like this. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to use indirect to thin it down. Just don't want to get those incipient cracks. Some stone works really well in the initial stages when you're doing the initial thinning, because you're using big platforms and stuff. And when it gets down to the finer flaking, sometimes it'll start to be temperamental. I had a longer quartzite cobble somewhere. A split cobble like this. Once it starts to get crunchy, it stays crunchy. I don't know. I'm trying to clear away all that chatter in there. Yeah, I can get some clean flakes with a large platform. If I start trying to get detailed with it, or refined, it starts to say, no, I don't like the refinement type stuff. Just bold flakes, that's all it likes. And maybe the pressure flakes. If I try to start doing the fancy percussion flakes, it doesn't like it. See that? If it's not one thing, it's another. If it's not the chatter, it's the bites taken out of the sides. The step fracturing is not too bad. It is a little steppy, but the steps are shallow. Just gotta worry about the bites taking out of the sides, because it does snap easily in bending. I could take a long thin flake and snap it easily. So if it's a long thin area, that'll snap easily also. So I suppose if I had a good strategy, I would do that. Try to do this thinning early. With the larger platforms, and just clean it up afterwards. Like I can stop right here and do the rest with pressure. But I don't know if that base is thin enough for the kind of notching I want to do, but I'm just going to have to go for it. And yes, I'm going to do the notching with the natural materials. With the natural notcher. Yeah, sometimes it works with the, well, no. It's not working all that well still with the refined indirect percussion. It doesn't like the small indirect percussion flaking. All right. When I say it doesn't like it, that means I just need no more practice at it. I have not napped, except just before the video when I snapped this one. I have not napped since the last video. So in order to do the refined flaking, or get good at it, I'm going to have to practice up with the indirect percussion flaker. The fine flaking with the indirect percussion flaker. I think I did some fine flaking before on these other two. But even though I did the video and I did the napping, I can't remember exactly. I can't remember exactly what I did. If I beefed up the edge a lot first and then took off the flakes, or if I was working off a very thin edge. I think I'm going to do that last and work on the base first. Yeah, I gotta beef up the edge before I take a flake, but it's very easy to beef up the edge with this material. It's very easy to remove the sharp edges just by scratching on it. Extremely easy. Pressure works okay. I think I mentioned that. Yeah. I like the pressure until it starts to do stupid stuff like taking the bite out of the edge. I don't want to jinx myself. What bite? Oh, nothing, nothing. That's pretty cool. I can push off of existing step fractures. Okay. I'm really not good at driving the long flakes with the pressure. But anyway. Okay, notching. I gotta try to get narrow with these. That one looks a little bit too delicate. Let's see. There it is. I think I can get away with this one. Alright, so the Wray points, the stems are kind of narrow. That might be too narrow. Well, let's see. Doesn't look too bad. Yeah, it's too narrow. I put this notch is a little bit too close together, so I don't like it when I do that. Because now it's even thicker. Okay. All right, so a little bit wider. I need to send in some percussion flakes first. It's almost too late. Yeah, it really does not like those refined percussion flakes. Let me see. So much for the narrow entry. All right, let's see. That's not working, so I'm just going to go straight to pressure. All right, I don't even know if that's any better. Okay, next segment. Let's see. Yeah, it still fits the foreshaft. Just barely. It's still thin enough. I've got to learn to plan the initial entry. I get too impatient. I want to do the initial entry on these notches too soon, instead of thinning it out first, actually measuring and putting maybe some marks on the stone so I don't get them too close, and then put in the angle with a little mark or a pencil or whatever, and really get professional with the notching. But that'll come up later in the only notching series. Only have part 1 so far. Nothing but notching. I can get serious with notching. I'm usually very impatient with it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to widen it out. I didn't want to widen it that much. It feels like I'm stalling it. Thank goodness for that pop out. If I didn't do that, it would have been stuck. So yeah, passive pressure works pretty good on this. I just don't want to touch the sides of the notch. It's easy to lose track of where I am when I'm doing the passive pressure and start drifting off to the side like this or like this, and then pop off the sides. Yeah, I might stall this one. Yeah, it's just way too thick. See, I didn't thin out this area like I should have. But you know, the basal thinning is so dicey. Let me think here. If I can thin that out, I might be able to continue with that notch, unless I use a metal tool. How they do that back in the day? They just made it thinner before they started. Or left it like that. Not all of them have perfect notches. Okay. Again, with the refined indirect that it does not like. We'll see what happens. Did it do it? Ooh, almost. Well, it got kind of close, right? I might be able to get some progress there. Maybe. It'll have to get wider. I think I might be able to walk it in. Start popping flakes off from this side over here and walk it in that way. It's vulnerable on that side. I can do my attack from that side and see how that works. I'm switching the pad around because I'm trying to get just the right place for it to sit. Let's try at the more narrow notcher. Now I'm going to snap that off. This one's a little bit stronger. It's still more narrow, so might work. Yeah, it worked, but worked too good. Wide notches, boys and girls. So how do they do the narrow notches with the abo? Well, let's see. Spending an inordinate amount of time doing it, not just an hour or two here and there. I could probably get the notch to cooperate on the other side. Since it's not as thick. But you never know, I might have to widen the other side too. Like I just did. Using some aggressive pressure. Yeah, start out with a thinner preform, and then the notching goes much easier. What about the ones that I see that are real, that are thick and they have the narrow notches? Show me one. It usually has a big old pop out before the notch work. Yeah, it's thick, but right around the edges of the notch, you have thin material. And they're able to crunch through the thin material or do the vertical punch notching. See, this is pretty thick material here, and I did get, fairly narrow on that side. It's not really a Wray point. Well, I guess it is. I saw some that had the notches kind of wide. All right, I'm going to try to thin that base down a little bit more. The notching's already messed up. Why not mess up everything else too? Someone's going to hit a dislike because I didn't do the narrow notching. It takes practice, man. Practice, practice. Yeah, a little bit better on the thinness on the stem. Oh, haven't you been practicing for 10 years? What's the problem? The problem is materials are different. And I switched over to these natural tools because I got so many requests. They don't know I have another channel, which is fine. But there's a learning curve. And I try to be expedient with everything. So my learning curve is probably a little bit longer than usual for someone who's been napping as long as I have. I try to be expedient. Okay. Like right there, I'm trying to be expedient by not taking away too much width to get rid of that fat spot, but it's not working. And this is kind of dull, I guess. I don't know. I'm going to take out my artificial abrader just so it doesn't take forever to sharpen this. Let me see. Come on. Stone is eating my pressure flaker for lunch. Even though it's soft. It's because it wants robust platforms before it'll remove a flake. If it's too delicate, it's just going to crush. I'm right on the edge of snapping everything right as I'm doing these pressure flakes. With this material, it seems like everything's right on the edge of messing it up. Every flake has a potential of messing everything up. You know, if I crush the edge and it becomes too fat because I'm losing too much width, that's one way to mess it up. Another way is to take a bite out of the edge, take too much edge off. Because I don't like the way that side is progressing. Let's see. It's another way to mess it up. Get the symmetry all messed up. You can mess up the symmetry while doing the damage control. Make sure I don't mess up the symmetry over here. I think you just did. Yep, sure did. Made the bottom of that barb too skinny, but oh well. As long as it, you know, it reaches pretty low. This one messed up because it's too high. On these Wray points, I think the barbs are pretty low. So as long as I keep one side low, plausible deniability. It's not a Wray point. I deny that. And I have plausible deniability because the barb is low. There you go. I'm going to use indirect to thin that down just because I'm a risky guy. Risky Napper. Yep, it's risky at this thinness. Oh well. I think in the description it did say that some of these are biconvex, which means they're fat in the middle. Some of them. Come on. You just think you don't like them refined percussion flakes. You just think you don't. You're in denial. You like those thinning flakes, those refined, very precise platform thinning flakes. No, it really hates those. It hates those. Doesn't like them. It doesn't like them pressure flakes either. I'm trying to drive a long flake here. It doesn't like it. Although you can drive long flakes on this. It only lets you get away with it when you're in the beginning stages, it seems. I'm going to try to force it here, see what happens. It's not a good video without some risk. That's about as risky as I want to go. Yeah, if I go too much further, I'm going to mess up the symmetry really bad. Okay. I'm just going to finish this out and call it good. Finish out with pressure and call it good. Yeah, loves the short pressure flakes. A lot of you guys try to thin this stuff down with pressure too. That's an art form in itself. Just be aware that thinning with pressure is one of those things that the rock does not like. Just because it'll say, you're too weak. You're too weak. There's no way. It'll test your strength. So you need physical strength to thin with pressure. Lots of physical strength. Well, just let the legs do all the work. Yeah, well, you gotta hold it steady. You gotta make it so it doesn't do this. That requires hand strength and stuff. You gotta hold the pressure flaker steady. You can just go and crunch your hand in there, and it's not going to do anything unless you can hold your hand steady. This is the danger, is hitting a knuckle on the edge there when you're doing this too. Cutting your knuckle open. Come on, one long pressure flake would be nice. That's not too bad. Nice thin down tip. It's kind of sharp right now, but I'm trying to get rid of some of those fat spots. I'm not doing very well because I just crushed it a little bit. It is sharp. Let's get it a little sharper. Should be using the spatula tool. I don't know. I don't always have to use that thing. Alright, let's do something risky. See, I got my knuckle after all. Let's do something risky and try to deepen that notch. Still got some time on this particular segment. Yeah, I'm not going to push my luck. This notch, on the other hand, looks pretty cheesy. I want to try to get some flakes pushed out right there. It's difficult with the soft material. Try the all in the bone, see if that works. All right, watch and see what happens. Let's see. Maybe it'll surprise me. Slippity doo dah. Okay, let's try again. Yeah, it's not even grabbing it at all. Okay, let's try this. It's grabbing it a little bit. Okay, so let's see. One more try. No, I stalled it. All right, so that's good enough. I can't remember if I saw the jaggedy edges down here near the barbs on those Wray points. I hope it is, because that's what I'm going to do. Make it a little bit jaggedy down here. Okay, that's good enough. Yeah, if I was using the modern tools, I could take some risks and thin this part down a little bit more right here, so this is not thicker than this, but oh well. With more practice, these notches get more narrow, right? And they probably will start going in the correct direction too, because I think the notches are supposed to go almost straight in, but just slightly curved inward, right? And these look like they're going slightly upward, curving. This one is curving upward like that. I think the Wray points have the notch either straight or slightly curved inward. And I'm not sure about how expanding the stems are. I think they are slightly expanding, but anyway, if it doesn't match, at least you'll know how not to do it. Okay. I could improve that stem a little bit. Let's see, how much time? Oh, it'll fit in there. Yeah, it'll straighten out. See, I have a little bit too much mass on this side at the bottom of that stem, so it interferes with it going this way. See, it blocks the movement this way in the haft, so I just need to switch it around the other way and try different things to get it maybe to work. Yeah, okay, it works. Just pop off that little piece that's stopping it. Now it's got more movement, so you can center it easier. Okay. There you go.